Hello and welcome to Friday's masterclass edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I'm going to attempt to do just that and tackle the Times cryptic crossword today. The SNITCH rating, which is sort of the unofficial rating of difficulty, suggests it's one of the sort of top 5 or 6 hardest puzzles in the last couple of months, so certainly not going to be a walk in the park. And yeah, we'll have a look at it in a moment. There's a couple of things I wanted to mention first. If you do enjoy these videos, please like them, please drop us a comment. It helps to teach the YouTube algorithm something about how wonderful cryptic crosswords are. And also over on Patreon, we do have a bit of a bonus at the moment. Yesterday we released a video where Mark solves the latest Matt Gaffney weekly crossword contest puzzle. These puzzles are great. They're sort of New York Times style puzzles, so you can see that this is a previous answer here, so fully checked with quick crossword definitions. But then at the end of the puzzle you have to figure something out about the grid and answer a question. So you can see the prompt last week was this week's contest answer, which is 9 letters long, as an American university often mentioned in crossword something. I can't read it. Where does it say? Oh no, oh dear. Okay, so the answer apparently was Iowa State, and I should have looked up why that's the answer, but they're very interesting. And for some of you, I know that will be quite a cool thing. I also, now there's a spoiler coming up, so if you haven't done today's Times concise puzzle and you're planning to do it, then don't look at your screens while I show you this. But I wanted to recommend the Times concise because it quite often has what we call a Nina hidden in it. So let me show you. I've just finished this morning, so you can see. Not a terrible time, but what alerted me to the fact there was almost certainly a Nina in this puzzle is this clue: 12 across, radio aerials, S not E. So that's telling you that this answer, antennas, which could have been antennae with an E at the end, needed an S. And I was like, that's interesting. Why? I mean, obviously it needs to specify it so that there is a singular solution, but it set alarm bells ringing about why this letter was particularly important. And if you actually have a look around the edge of the grid here, you can see spelt out, love makes the world go round. Isn't that lovely? So there are often these so-called, they're called Ninas in crossword world. There are often Ninas hidden in puzzles. In the Times, not in the cryptic, or not that I've ever noticed, but in the concise very often. And one of the games people like to play is, can they spot that day's Nina? So have a look in the diagonals and things like that. Anyway, just a little tip for you there, and the reason you should all be trying the concise as well. But anyway, let's get cracking with the cryptic. I don't think there was anything else I was meant to mention. Hopefully it's going to fit on my screen. Looks good. Let's go. One across. What can calm, taken by mouth mostly, sleeping draught perhaps? I haven't got the foggiest. Let's have a look at one down. Places erected, including European Institute. Yeah, I have got that. Okay. So the key to reading this clue correctly is knowing a couple of things. Firstly, European is very often abbreviated to E. Again, I do this every week, but it's worth repetition. You can't just abbreviate any word to its initial letter. You can abbreviate words that are supported by the dictionary as having a valid abbreviation equal to that letter. So if we look at E here, European, there it is. It's actually listed and it equates to a capital E. So I knew that. The other thing to think about whenever you read a cryptic clue is obviously we need to split the clue. There's always going to be a definition, which is almost always either at the start or the end of the clue. But there are also, or there tend to be, and we'll find this as we work through this puzzle, there will be words that are redolent of wordplay. They suggest moving things about or repositioning them. And if we look at this, the word erected here is to me it's saying reverse, because this is a down clue. So if we erect something, we turn it upwards. So I read this clue and also, by the way, I know I'm jumping around a bit. I'm spending a long time on this clue, but it's perhaps not a bad clue to start with, because all these clues are very mathematical in nature. I know we're doing a word puzzle, but if you have a mathematical bent, you will find that these puzzles appeal to you, because this clue really reads to me as find a word for places, turn it upside down, include an E, and that will give you a phrase that means institute. So it's quite... Oh, Maverick's just taken off. It's quite, you know, if we read it that way, many of you who perhaps aren't as familiar with cryptic clues as I am might be able to get it. So we need a word for places. That's a plural, so it probably ends with S. Once we reverse it, that's going to suggest that the S has come to the start, hasn't it? So we could write the S here. So can we think of a phrase that means institute that goes here, that's got E in it? Well, how about set up? And if we put set up, put is to place with the E inside. And if you institute something, you set it up. Now, of course, the clue writer is trying to say institute, is trying to make you think of a building, you know, an institute. Oh, let's go to the institute to, I don't know, study maths or something. Whereas actually here, to institute is to set up. So we're playing with the parts of speech. It's a good clue, but if you know how to read it, it's not terribly difficult. Let's try 9 across. What makes round? Brown circle in sampler. That's weird. Okay, I read this clue and immediately the answer to the clue has popped into my brain, and I don't know why. I think it was I saw the word brown. So this is very strange because I didn't do any actual solving. The answer jumped into my brain, and then I've read the clue again and I've understood how it works. So the whole key to this clue is to split it in the correct place. And this is a real, you know, this is the big game in town. Can you divide all of these clues in the right place such that we can identify which part of the clue is the definition and which part of the clue is the wordplay? And here you need to make that split in a strange place. It needs to be after the word brown. So if we read the clue again, what makes round brown? That might not sound like a sensible phrase, but that is the definition to this clue. What makes round brown? So cogitate on that. And then the wordplay is circle in sampler. Well, a sampler is somebody who tests something, or somebody who tastes it, perhaps. And a circle is the letter O. It is, after all, a circle. So if we put O in taster, we get toaster. And what makes round brown? Well, if we think of a round as in a round of bread, that's why toaster is the answer. And I don't know why my brain shouted that at me. My brain is peculiar, as Mark will tell you. Anyway, let's go on. 11 across. Copy Martin, perhaps. I'm immediately thinking that this is an anagram of Copy Martin. It may not be, but that's what my brain is saying. As a name from an earlier generation. Oh, okay. I mean, it could be, couldn't it? A name from an earlier... I wanted it to be pre-something. This feels to me like it's going to be some sort of... Oh, it could be a word that ends nym, like NYM, like antonym or synonym. I think it is going to be an anagram of Copy Martin, but I haven't got a clue what it is, so I think we're going to have to rely on some checking letters to help us. Let's try 2 down. What child may do with penny, toy? What child may do? I've thought of a word that fits. No, I have got it. Okay, that's again. My brain's working weirdly today. So my yeah, I don't understand what's going on in my head. The word that came up to. So let me. What child may do. I don't know why, but my brain said rattle there. But maybe it's because it saw the word toy. And I thought child's toy, that could be rattle. And a penny can be p, as in 1p, which would be 1 penny. So I put P and rattle together. I got prattle, which I knew was a word, but I couldn't understand how prattle meant toy. But I've now realised that actually what a child may do is prattle. I don't think a child may prattle, but anyway, so how does the wordplay work? P is that P, and a toy is a rattle, and that gives us prattle. Let's go back to this one. What can calm? Soporific. I want this to be something like soporific. What can calm? Taken by mouth, mostly. So I'm thinking that this is a word for something that can calm you down. I'm thinking, what could that be? A placator or something. And that's going to be taken in a word for mouth, most of a word for a mouth, beginning with S. Oof. And it's a sleeping draught, perhaps. Goodness only knows what that means. I don't know what this is. Let's try 3 down. Could this be something like patronym? It's got to have a C in it. Ooh. Oh, could it be patronymic? I think that does feel right. Patronymic. I think I've heard of the word patronym. Patronymic. It looks right from the anagram fodder. It's got my NYM idea in it. And this is where my lack of Latin comes in and bites me all the time. Because, I think this means something to do with, of your father's name or something, but I don't know. Okay, I think patronymic is going to be my best guess there. We'll see if we can justify it with 4 down at least. Raid gold in possession of fairy. Okay. Well, there are 2 things to note here. Gold has 2 very common short synonyms in crosswords. One is AU, that's from the periodic table. That's the chemical symbol for gold, the element. The other is OR, which looks better here, doesn't it? And OR is a heraldic tincture. It's the name given to the heraldic tincture of gold. Let's see if we can justify that. There we go. The tincture gold, OR. So that looks like we're going to have to put OR there. And now we're thinking, I'm thinking it's gold. And again, let's think about position of words. What's the clue mathematically telling us to do? It's saying, find a synonym for the word gold. We know what that is. It's or. And that is in possession of. So it's inside a word for fairy. And the whole thing, therefore, must mean the other part of the clue, which is the word raid. So I'm thinking foray. Now, fay is, I think, an old word for a fairy. I want to say Morgan Le Fay, but I thought Morgan Le Fay was F-E-Y, but I might be wrong about that. But I think foray feels right, doesn't it? Soporifant or something, I don't know. But again, that F looks quite good for that. Let's see if we can get 5 down. Entrust to support, group making decisions. No, I was thinking oligopoly. Entrust to support group. So that could, again, if we try and think about this mathematically, what could this clue be telling us to do? It could be telling us, take a word that means entrust, that supports, well, it's a down clue, so that would be underneath, it would be the sort of the base of a word that means group. So if we could think of a word that means group, set maybe, or band at the top, and then the whole thing means, and that it's making a word which means decisions, judgments, or sentences, but I don't know, I'm not getting it, am I? I'm useless, sorry. Let's try 14 across. Type of work aspiration for Cockney artist. Ooh. Aspiration. Okay, now let's talk about what this means. Cockney artist. Now, in cryptic crossword land, Cockneys, they do 2 things. They employ Cockney rhyming slang, trying to think of an example. I can't, and not a decent one anyway. So the other thing is, the other thing that Cockneys do in cryptic crosswords is they drop their H's. So this is probably going to be, so aspiration for Cockney artist is going to be something like paint well. That might be, but if we can think of a word like that, or a phrase like that that's got an H in it that we can drop, then, oh no, I've got it actually. I've got the answer, but it doesn't work quite how I thought. It does work how I thought, but it's not the type of work that I thought. So what we're looking for here is a musical work. So can you think of a musical work that fits this pattern? And then think of the commonest word synonym you can think of for the word aspiration. What is an aspiration? And has it got an H in it? Drop the H out and you might get the answer. So if the word you came up with for aspiration was hope, and you dropped the H, you get ope. And an artist is RA, believe it or not, which stands for, and I can never say this word, the second word, it stands for Royal Academician or something like that. Let's go back to our dictionary so I can show you that I'm not talking absolute nonsense. There we go. Royal Academician, i.e. somebody who is a member of the Royal Academy, and that is why RA and artist are considered synonymous in cryptic crossword land, and opera is our musical work. It doesn't say musical work, it just says type of work. 14 down. Children, offspring, I'm thinking. Start, or the start of a race, is the off, and a well is a spring, something you get water from. So offspring, and that's this. These are the sorts of answers you want, because look how many first letters we get from this. So 16 across. Series of shots. I was thinking rally from tennis. I'm wondering if it might be folio. Is that? I don't know. Series of shots initially are downed easily after a lot of pasta. Fuselli? Oh, is it a fusillade? Something like fusillade? Is that, if you're on a rifle range, do you get something like that maybe? Fuselli, that's most of fuselli. No, it is. It's right. Okay, it's fusillade, which I think is a word. And then this happens to me a lot. This is, I think, a difference between the way I solve and the way Mark solves. Mark has an encyclopedic knowledge of the dictionary. So I gave up doing the specialised listener crosswords about, 15 years ago. And you can imagine the sort of vocabulary you can build up if you continue to work on puzzles that difficult. And Mark has a memory that basically means he never ever forgets a word, and he never ever, this is the weird one, forgets how to spell a word. Whereas my brain works differently. I think I've seen this word before, fusillade. If you asked me, is that a word? I'd say yes, probably, but I don't know it. And although I've probably written it in a crossword before, I've never written it down in language. I've never written it in an essay. So it's a word really I only know from crosswords, and I'm therefore much more reliant in these puzzles on using the wordplay to its max. So series of shots I think might be fusillade. Initially are downed easily. Well, if we take the initial letters of the words are downed and easily, we get ADE, and that looks great, doesn't it, for that after a lot of pasta? Well, a lot of pasta is most of the word fuselli, I think. I'm also now slightly worried. I've thought because I often misspell the various types of pasta that you get in the world, but I think it's spelled like that. That feels right, doesn't it? Let's go back to this one. This could be something like nationally. Or, have I looked at this? Judiciously restrict the consumption of supporter. Rationally. Ration ally. If you restrict the consumption of something, you ration it. And a supporter is an ally. Put that together, we get rationally, and that means judiciously. And that, soporific, it still looks like. Can soporific be a noun then? A soporific. What can calm a soporific then? Taken by mouth mostly. Orifice. Oh, I don't know. Soporific. Yeah, I can see that's got most of orifice, which is most of the word mouth. What can calm? S-O-P. Sop. I mean, I thought a sop was like a bribe. Sleeping draught, perhaps. I think, I mean, I'm very convinced about the ific ending, because orific, being most of the word orifice, feels right. I'm less sure I understand S-O-P. So, what can calm? There could be a meaning of sop that I don't know. I mean, what else could it be? It's S blank P at the start, isn't it? Sap. Does that mean calm? No. Sep. No. I only know that as an abbreviation for September. Sip. No. Sup. No. So I think soporific is it must be right. But I don't. What we'll do at the end. Well, no, I'm not going to change this. Okay, I'm not going to change my answer here. So I'm therefore happy to look at sop now. And let's just see if we can justify it. So was I right that it was a bribe? Maybe I wasn't. A gift. A gift or concession from the drugged sop the Sibyl gave to Cerberus to gain passage for Aeneas to Hades. I love it when you look up a word and it says, I mean, that's just incredible, isn't it? To steep in alcohol, to percolate. What was it meant to mean? What can calm? Oh, it doesn't look great, does it? SOP abbreviation, soprano, significant other. Maybe what's drugged SOP then? Maybe, I don't know. So okay, well, I mean, I think I was right to be cautious. But I'm not changing the answer, so if that turns out to be wrong, more fool me. Okay, now what do we get now? Why don't we try that one? 20 across. Shut up about old farm worker. Okay, that's difficult. There's an old word peon, which I think is an old word for a peasant or a farm worker. If you shut up is to pen. If you pen something, you shut it up. That goes around O for old. And that gives us peon, which I think is the answer. Let's actually just, while we're being diligent with the dictionary, let me show you. Day labourer, one working off a debt by bondage in India. But there you go. I mean, it's clearly is a day labourer or a farm worker. Let's try that one. Occupy, hotel, soon to go outside. Occupy in. I was thinking of inhabit for occupy. Yeah, I think it is. I quite like that. Inhabit. So how am I seeing that working? Well, H is the international radio code word, or letter for hotel. Sorry, is the international radio code word for H. So that's giving us that H in the answer. And in a bit, if you do something in a bit, you do it soon, don't you? So you put in a bit on the outside of H, we get inhabit, which means occupy. So we should be able to have a stab at this now. Surround, I'm thinking smother. With small, damn. Very good. Okay. I really like clues like this. Because when you read this clue, it is almost, without those letters, it's so difficult to read damn as it's meant to be read for the purposes of the clue here. So it is smother. And the only reason I got it was I had all those checking letters. And S is a valid abbreviation for small. You might see that on clothes. You know, if you look at the label, it might have an S on it. That means small. So we've got S here. And damn, well, that's mother. It's not talking about a weir or something like that. It's talking. Oh, hang on, I should have looked up damn. So damn, there we go. So that's what the clue is making. You think this is getting at. But look at all these meanings of dam. In fact, there's loads of them. A mother is the second meaning. Let's have a look at some of the others. Oh, it's abbreviation for decameters, an obsolete Indian coin, a draughtman in obscure Scots language, and a form of dam. Okay, well, I would have known that one. But, okay, so smother is going to be right there. Let's try that one, actually, because we should be able to... Oh, okay. Yes, all right. Another tricky... Yeah, no, it's fine. A priest born in... So, again, this relies on a bit of vocabulary. So there is a word for a priest, which is abbe, A-B-B-E. It doesn't look like a word. I agree. If that's what you were thinking, that I would totally agree with you. It doesn't look like a word. It is a word. How does this work? Well, Abraham Lincoln was often Abe Lincoln. So when you see Lincoln in crosswords, it's not talking about the city of Lincoln. It's normally talking about Abraham Lincoln, or A-B-E. And born can be B. Now be careful with the word born, because born... often in cryptic crosswords is N-E, and you might see that to indicate somebody's born name, so a lady's maiden name, so that they might have a lady's name and then it might have N-E and then her maiden name after that. So if you see born, think B and think N-E. And abbe, let me just show you that is a valid word. That's not looking good. There you go. Often this dictionary doesn't understand, so you can see there's a cute accent on the E there, so it's from the French, especially in France, a courtesy title for a priest. Okay, what was it? What was the definition of priest? So, okay, fairly good. Now, what's this going to be? Gorge or gorse, presumably. Oh, druidic council. Ugh. Axing hollow, dead shrub. Oh, shrub could be gorse. Ooh. So this, well, okay. Oh, hang on, my phone's ringing. I just need to see who this is. Let me just... Oh, no. That's weird. Oh, it's Mark. I don't know. I can't get that now. So, Druidic Council, Axing Hollow, Dead Shrub. Well, the way I read this is I need to know a word for a Druidic Council. I do not know that word. And I need to axe from that, so I need to remove from that the word dead, which has been hollowed out. So I'm thinking I take double D out of a word. And that... That's why I'm just pausing, because, I mean, the shrub feels like it's gorse, but the taking double D out of gorse, I don't like that at all. Where am I going to put double D in that so that it's going to mean anything? I mean, there can't be a word, can there? A gordse. If I put double D in that, I don't like that at all. I really don't. So... Wow, that's a real worry, actually. That is a real worry, because I don't think I know this word. I'm trying to think of another shrub I could put in there that's not gorse. Or I'm thinking, do I actually know a word for a Druidic Council? I mean, moot and ent. I don't know. I think ent. I'm not, obviously ent's got nothing to do with this clue, but is I know there's an ent moot, but is ent a word that actually means some sort of, or is that I'm just getting that from Tolkien, aren't I? Yeah, okay. Druidic Council. I mean, this is so annoying, because, I mean, this is an extremely unusual word. And it's leading to I mean, unless the answer is gorse. Axing hollow dead. I mean, what can that be but double D? I think we're going to have to come back to that. Now that's going to... I hate this. I hate leaving things like this. I cannot improve my position, can I? all I can do is worry about it. Let's have a look at 15 down. Sight pate being prepared. That's going to be an anagram of sight pate for this dish. So we need to think of a dish that goes in there. What's that going to be then? A dish. A dish. And it doesn't have to be something you eat either, so we've got to be a bit careful. The dish is going to be... It's probably got GHT in the middle of it, hasn't it? I'm not sure, actually. I don't know. Let's see if we can get 15 across. Shade regularly, keeps spinning endlessly, in grave. Well, I don't know what this is yet, but shade regularly. If you see words like regularly, it's saying take the regular letters. So either the odd numbered letters or the even numbered letters out of a string. So shade, it could be SAE, and that's going to keep a word which means spinning, which is going to be endless. Or it could be H and D, couldn't it? And the whole thing means grave. So grave can mean serious or it can mean tomb. So and it probably, if it's SAE, it probably begins with SA and then the E is at the end. That would give us an S at the start, which works for the anagram. Spaghetti. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? I was going on about my lack of ability to spell pasta. But okay, now I can see it when I come back to it. Don't understand my brain again. So this probably is SAE here. And we need a word that means grave. Saturnine. Turning, yeah, that's right. Okay, so, oh, hang on. Saturnine means grave. And you can see turning is our word for spinning, and that's endless, so it loses its G. Let's go back to that one. If we looked at this one, committee. A group making decisions. That must be a committee. Entrust to support. Oh, I love, okay. Okay, well, this is a great example of how I misread the clue. Yeah, it's lovely. Lovely. Okay, so I read this clue as being a word for entrust supporting a word for a group. Actually, it's a word for entrust. If you entrust something to somebody, you commit it to them. Ah! And that goes to a word that means support. Well, if you're playing golf, what would you support your ball with? A tee. So commit plus T gives committee, which is a group making decisions. Isn't that lovely? So 10 across. Horse and knight advance in battle. Well, the Battle of Mons is what I'm thinking of. M-O-N-S. So in horse. Ugh. Actually, I don't know, actually. Horse. I'm just trying to think. You know, if I put the letters O, M, N, and S around knight. Advance can be A. Knight from chess symbols can be N. Knight can sometimes also be Sir. If you knight someone, they become a Sir. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. Let's try that one. 21. Bird. Chaffinch. One very loud at first, calling hidden in cut hay. I mean, it's got double F in it. Chiff chaff. I don't even know where I've got that from, but I think there is a bird called a chiff chaff. And the reason that occurred to me is this one very loud. Nothing is superfluous in a cryptic crossword or in a good cryptic crossword clue. So one very loud, this one has to do something. Well, one is normally either I from, well, I mean, you can think of it as a Roman numeral equivalent of the number 1, which is I. Very loud on a piano score would be FF. So IFF or AFF feels like a very natural part of the answer to this. So initially I was thinking chaffinch, but it's not long enough. So then I thought chiff chaff, which I think is a thing. And I can see at first calling hidden. Well, the first letters of the word calling and the word hidden are C and H. So actually, one very loud at first calling hidden is giving us IFFCH, and that's all going in chaff, which is cut hay, isn't it? You sort the wheat from the chaff. So I think chiff chaff feels very right there, doesn't it? Let's try and do this one before we do that one. 22 down. Down with viral infection following start of freeze. Well, the start of freeze is going to be the letter F, the starting letter of the word F. So we need a viral infection. 4 letters. Down with. And down with, I mean, if you're down with something in modern lingo, you're sort of au fait with it, aren't you? You know, or you agree to it. But I wonder if the Times has caught up with modern lingo. This might just be a word that means down. Frail was what I thought of. I don't think it is that. All right, let's try and do it the other way around. Bug within pelt, one put away, an inmate. No. Bug, that could be like a small word for an insect, like ant. A pelt, if something, I mean, pelt can be skin or hide. Or it could be to pelt, as in to pelt with rain, inundate. One put away, an inmate, incarcerated, internee, I don't know, silly brain, naughty brain. Right, sweet fudge maybe. For instance, doughy pudding, not finished up. E.g. it's reversed. I'm just going to put fudge. Oh, duff. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so for instance is E.g. A doughy pudding is something like a plum duff you might have heard of. D-U-F-F is a doughy pudding. That's not finished, so we cut off the last F. We turn the whole thing up, we get fudge, which is a sweet. And the letters we get are useless, as we might expect. Should we go for that? Let's go for this. Lawyer's dull discourse upset court. Lawyer. Prosecutor. No, well, that's not going to be bad, because prose is dull discourse, isn't it? Upset court. Let's have a look at that. Oh, upset court is just an anagram of the word court. Okay. Court can be CT in Crossword, so I was trying to get that into it somehow, wondering why this C and T were separated. But no, it's just an anagram of the word court. Prosecutor is the lawyer, and we've done that one. So 26 across. Still to be evaluated. Untaxed, maybe? On Man United ground. Ground is an interesting word in Crosswords. I don't think it's being used here in this sense, but I will mention it. Ground is the past tense of the word grind, and if you grind something, that would be an absolutely valid anagram indicator. So if you do see ground, be aware that it might be being used as an anagram indicator. I don't think that's how it works here. Manchester United, I think, is going to be Man U, but then where are we putting that in here? Oh, no, it's not. Okay, this is very, very nice. I really like this. And I really like it because if you have a little bit of knowledge of football, it will be hard to read this clue. It's very hard to separate Manchester and United in this clue when you read it. Your brain just says Manchester United, or mine does, but you can't read it like that. The way you have to read it is to take the back on Manchester. That's saying take the back letter of the word Manchester. Now that's R. And then we are grinding. The ground is being used as an anagram indicator of the word United. I haven't got this yet. Still to be evaluated is... Oh, no. Hang on. No. All right. No, I think I'm right. Untried is going to be the answer. So we're actually anagramming the R as well from the back letter of United. It's not starting with R. We're adding that to the anagram fodder of United. Anagramming it all up, and I think we can make untried from that. So what does that mean? This is fluey or something. Oh. I mean, if you are fluey, I don't know. I mean, is that a word, fluey? I don't know, it might be. Down with... Oh, no, okay, I know what this is. This is fluff, actually. Oh, that's very clever. Okay, so that fooled me. So down is fluff. And then what you've got is a viral infection, which is flu. Following can be F. It's a valid abbreviation for F. Let's demonstrate it. Hopefully it will be there. So we want following. I don't know where it's going to be. No. Oh, there it is. Following. There we go. So that can be F. And then the starter phrase is that F. So that gives us fluff. Now what was this was the put away. One put away bug. Within pelt. One put away. Oh, infuriate. That's lovely. Oh, yes, I like that. Okay. So again, that was tricky because bug within pelt. Again, I'm trying to read it mathematically. So I'm thinking short synonym for bug. That goes within a word that means pelt, and the whole thing means one put away. That is not how we have to read this. The definition is actually bug. If something is within something, it's in it. Pelt is fur. I mean, it's about the only short synonym I didn't say. One is that one. If you put something away, you ate it. Infuriate or infer I ate is what the wordplay is saying. If we say it differently, infuriate, we get the answer. Now, what do we think that's going to be before we actually look at the clue? I don't know. Nothing's occurring to me. Local drink. Ale? Oh, ocarina. Flute. Local drink has never to be tipped. It must be ocarina. We're going to figure it out, but let's think about it. Local drink has never to be tipped. Local drink has never to be tipped. I don't actually know. Maybe it's not ocarina. I don't know. That's weird. Okay, I'm not sure. So let's go back. Special constable not allowed to reconnoitre, to survey, or to I don't know. So the way I'm reading this is special constable. I mean, can that be SC? It might be able to be. I mean, I think S can be special, but I'm actually quite tempted by SC. And then we need not allowed, out, scout. Yeah, okay, good. All right, brain finally got me to the answer. If something's not allowed, it's out. It's out of bounds or out of order. That or ocarina still looks good. I haven't got a clue how that worked. I mean, what else could that be? I don't know. We'll come back to that one because I don't understand it. Oh, we've got an I. I should have seen this. We've got an I in 7 down. British and English align badly in a foreign tongue. That is going to be Bengali. So how do I get that? I've got B for British, E for English. Is that I think that was my desktop making that noise. I hope that's not broken the video. And align badly. If you align something badly, you anagram it. Boom. Anagram the word align. We get Bengali, which is a foreign tongue. Let's try 6 across. Lie about strength of character. Lie. Fib. Yeah, fibre. Fibre is your strength of character, isn't it? A lie is a fib. If something is about something, it's it. Strength of character, fibre. So let's try this. First rate tarts turned out light. First rate tarts. Tarts. Floozies? First, I think this is going to mean first rate. Fine? Wow, and that's difficult. I don't know what that is. Let's try 8 down. Work in copper, perhaps. Etch. Making a bolt. Work in copper. I don't know. 12 across. Reported. Oh, I was thinking. Yes. Okay. So there's normally 1 or 2 of these in every cryptic crossword, which is a homophone. So here, the word reported is saying, if you report something to somebody, you tell them about it. So it's something heard. So we need a word for a murderer that when we hear it, we could spell it differently. And that's going to give us the answer, which is going to be a punishment. So can you think of as punishment, especially an old school punishment that would fit here? And hopefully you might come up with the word, you get the Cain. Now Cain, C-A-I-N, Cain was the first murderer in the Bible. Cain murdered his brother Abel. So Cain is the murderer, C-A-I-N. But if we hear that, it's indistinguishable from C-A-N-E, which is the answer. And these clues always have to be careful, of course, especially when this checking letter is an A, because it's obviously K, with whether it's C-A-I-N or C-A-N-E. This checking letter doesn't help you. So the clue always needs to be specific about which word is the actual entered answer. And here it's very clear because it's clearly reported murderer. So it's the murderer who we're homophoning, if you like, if that's a word. Oh, this is the battle one. Battle of Monmouth. Is that a battle? I don't know. Oh, Marengo. Oh, there was a battle. Yeah, that's right. Golly. Okay. So I thought Mon, and that was totally misleading. So what we actually need here is horse, which is a mare. Knight, I said that it could be abbreviated to N from chess notation. There's the N. If you advance, you go. Marengo is the battle we need. So this isn't fine. First-rate tarts turned out light. If you light something, you fire it. That's really clever. Well, hang on. Well, I think it is really clever. I haven't understood it yet. What I've noticed is that reversed in the word, or the word's first rate, is the word tarts. So what this clue seems to be saying to me is, from the string of letters first rate, tarts turned is taken out. But if I take tarts, oh yeah, no, it's fine. It does work. I was thinking there was no R, but there is. There's no R left. There is. So F-I-R and E is left, and fire means light. That's really clever. That's that's a very clever clue. 8 down. It's very clever. Let's just come back to that because it's really well hidden. I don't know why my brain saw that tarts was reversed in first rate. But it wasn't instant. It was the second. This is second reading of the clue, so we've had to come back to it. So what's this then? Elopement. Oh, making a bolt could be elopement. Work in element. There we go. Elopement. Don't know how I got that, but brain was useful for once. So copper is an element, as in the periodic table. A work is an opus. We often see that in cryptic crosswords. OP. And then we put OP in element, and we get elopement, making a bolt. And the clue is trying to suggest that you're working in copper to make a nail or something, isn't it? A bolt. But actually it's talking about running away to get married. So we've got this one and the dreaded one down here to go. Druidic Council. Oh no. I just don't think I know this. I don't even know. Is that... I don't want to put gorse in. I don't think gorse is right. Hollow. There can't be words for dead shrubs, can there? That's just nonsense. So hollow dead must be double D. So we have to think of a word here we can expand with double D. I mean, unless there is some ludicrous word, gorsed, G-O-R-S-E-D-D, then it would be okay for it to be gorse. Gorsed. I think that, aren't there Welsh words that have double D at the end of them? I actually almost quite like that thought. A Gorsed for a druidic council. I think I'm going to go for that on the basis I'm not going to come up with anything better. Now this is going to be ocarina, but I need to work out why. At least I've got an I've got a very dubious explanation of 27 across, which is ludicrous. And almost certainly wrong. But 9 down, I need to understand this. It's going to be ocarina, I'm sure, because the ocarina of time, any Zelda player will know. But why? Local drink has never to be tipped. In flute. A local drink. What on earth is going on here? Orange. Oh, I'm so sorry if this is obvious. I mean, I feel like it must be obvious. Local drink. How is that not ale or beer or something? Has never to be tipped. I mean, I think I'm now thinking ocarina. Maybe it must be ocarina. O blank A blank I blank A. How many words actually fit that pattern? I would guess 1. And the ocarina is a flute. So how can it not be ocarina? Local. Oh, goodness me. Oh, that's right. That's brilliant. I have understood it, actually. Okay, I don't quite know again how my brain got this, but somehow my brain has now realised that hidden... this is... Okay, so to be tipped here is absolutely evil and brilliant. If you tip something, you remove the tips of it. Obviously, it can mean to tip up as well, which is how I was reading it. Let's not read it like that. Let's read it as to cut the ends off. Now, if you cut the ends off the word local, you get OCA. If you cut the ends off the word drink, you get RIN. And if you cut the ends off the word has, you get A. And if you put all that together, you get ocarina, which is the answer. So the one that I'm now really, well, I think it's going to be wrong is this one. But I haven't got anything better, so let's just go. And if I didn't know the word, I didn't know the word. You have to excuse me. Oh, it's and there we go. There was me talking about misspelling, and it's exactly what I've done in 16 across. Bobbins. I just don't know how to spell the pasta. It's because I say it as fuselli. Is it actually? Am I meant to say it as fusilli? I don't know. But Gorse was right, believe it or not. Oh, you've all been shouting at me for the fuselli misspell, haven't you? Fusillard, then. There it is. Simultaneous discharging of... So if I try and spell let's just check. Fusilli, then it is, apparently. Fusilli, yeah. So it does say that it's meant to be... So when I say fuselli, I'm just saying it wrong, I think. It's meant to be fusilli. So that's I've got to correct my brain there. And then, oh yeah, Gorsed I wanted to look at. Is that actually... It is! Gorsed! A meeting of bards and druids, especially such an assembly prior to an Eisteddfod. Welsh. Oh, well, I mean, isn't it a shame that my brain is too stupid to get this, but it can get this, and it can explain that. Oh, dear, dear, dear. That's really... I'm very disappointed in myself, actually. I'm so sorry. I hope the rest of it was useful. I know many of you will have just been shouting at me for most of the video because of this. and thinking about how ignorant I am. I am ignorant about pastas and spelling of pastas. I will try and do better next time. So yeah, sorry. Bad, naughty Simon. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.